Do you know how Christmas trees went from being plain to glittery? As a child, we had tinsel on our tree, which made it shimmer. My father would supervise to ensure we laid the tinsel one strand at a time. If you've ever had to do that, you know how boring it is. Well, to move the process along, I went to the back part of the tree and started laying the tinsel 3 strands at a time. After all, it's the ugly side of the tree. That's why it's facing the wall. Unfortunately, I got caught, and I had to do it all over again. Tinsel's been around a long time. It was used to enhance the flickering of candlelight, which used to radiate trees. Thank goodness now we use lights. Christmas is all about illumination. Many people, like Clark Griswold, make a big deal out of lighting up the outside of their homes. But back to trees, how they moved from being plain to glittery and what my family had to do with it. This is the real story of how Christmas trees got their glitter. Many, many years ago, my great-great-great-grandmother, who was a poor widow, lived with her children in a one-room ramshackled hut with a dirt floor, which she was grateful for because she never had to wash the floor. The hut was in the middle of an ancient forest, and surrounding it was a squadron of very tall pine trees. The children would fall peacefully to sleep, listening to the creaky voices of the trees swaying in the wind. I've listened to trees. They do have a lot to say. The trees also provided a source of food for the family, especially when they couldn't garden. And so in the winter, my great-great-great-grandmother would make our famous family recipe, pine cone soup. One day, the youngest child in the family buried one of the pine cones, thinking that it would be great to have a source of food right inside the house and not have to go out into the cold. Because the forest was magical, that tree started growing immediately. We also think that the optimism of a child had something to do with it. Well, having an inside tree, the other kids were all excited about that one. And when December rolled around, they realized that they had an indoor Christmas tree. And while they were grateful for that, they were also a little dismayed because it was so plain. So on Christmas Eve, they all sat around the tree and just imagined possible ornaments. They held hands, they said a prayer, and then they went to sleep with beautiful mind pictures of glistening Christmas trees. Well, you can't live in a hut and not expect to have spiders. And because the forest is magical, well, the spiders were too. They could see the children's dreams, and they decided to do something about it. And so they held a web conference, and they began spinning all around and up and down the tree, making elegant and delicate webs. On Christmas morning, when the children awoke, they couldn't believe their eyes. Their cries of joy awakened their mother, and she too was amazed when she looked at the tree. The sun had crept in, and not just through the window, but through every nook and cranny in the wall, transforming that tree into silver and gold. It was dazzling and sparkling and just so magical, well beyond what anyone could have imagined. That was the Christmas my family was gifted, the idea of possibility, a Christmas story that we still tell today, and the invention of tinsel that plagued me as a child. All right, so the tinsel part's not true, but the rest of the story is.